This is VOA News. Via remote, I'm Jeff Custer. Military officials in South Korea and Japan say North Korea Tuesday fired what appeared to be a ballistic missile into the sea off its eastern coast, its second weapons test in a week. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said North Korea likely fired a single ballistic missile from the same inlet area that it fired last week's test, and that the South Korean and U.S. military were analyzing the launch. South Korea's defense ministry reported the latest missile traveled about 700 kilometers at a maximum altitude of 60 kilometers. The military officials said the North's claims that it had been testing hypersonic missiles were likely exaggerated, though they added this week's missile showed improved performance over last week's test. Hypersonic missiles are usually defined as missiles reaching at least 5 times the speed of sound, or 6,200 kilometers per hour, and can maneuver at relatively low trajectories, making them much harder to detect and intercept. The U.S. and 5 other members of the UN Security Council condemned the tests, saying they contribute to instability in the region. A Kremlin spokesman said Tuesday there is no significant reason for optimism following Monday's highly anticipated talks between U.S. and Russian diplomats in Geneva regarding Russia's military buildup on the border with Ukraine. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters from Moscow the fact the talks were open, comprehensive, and direct was certainly positive, but added it's the result that matters. Moscow continues to insist on guarantees NATO roll back its military deployments in Eastern Europe, demands that Washington continues to reject. Two sides will meet again Wednesday in Brussels and Thursday in Vienna. Russia will also discuss the Ukraine situation this week with representatives from NATO and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. This is VOA News. Aid workers and local officials report an airstrike in northern Ethiopia's Tigray region has killed 17 civilians, mainly women, and wounded dozens of others Monday, the same day U.S. President Joe Biden raised concerns about such airstrikes on civilians with Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Reports from the Tigray region say most of those killed in Monday's drone strike were women working at a flour mill. That attack follows a similar airstrike Saturday that killed at least 56 and wounded more than 130 at a camp for displaced people in the Tigray region. The White House said in his call to the Ethiopian leader, Biden stressed the urgency of improving humanitarian access across Ethiopia, and the need to address the human rights concerns of all affected Ethiopians, including concerns about detentions of Ethiopians under the country's state of emergency. The White House said the president also called on the government of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which has ruled the Tigray region for decades, to end hostilities, begin a national dialogue, and open humanitarian access to the region. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says strikes have disrupted aid delivery to Tigray citizens, with aid organizations halting operations as of Sunday due to insecurity. The World Health Organization's European Regional Director said Tuesday Europe has reported more than 7 million new cases of COVID-19 driven by the Omicron variant across Europe last week, more than doubling in just 2 weeks. WHO Europe Director Dr. Hans Kluge, speaking during a media briefing Tuesday, said the Omicron variant represents a west-to-east tidal wave sweeping across the region, on top of the surge prompted by the Delta variant that countries had been trying to manage until late last year. He said 26 countries in the region reported more than 1% of their populations are being infected with COVID-19 each week, warning there is now a closing window of opportunity for countries to prevent their health systems from being overwhelmed. He cited estimates from the University of Washington's Institute of Health Metrics, projecting half of the population in Western Europe will be infected with COVID-19 in the next 6 to 8 weeks. German COVID-19 vaccine maker BioNTech announced Tuesday it has developed a method to quickly determine whether a new variant of the virus that causes COVID-19 is cause for concern. In a joint statement Tuesday, BioNTech and its partner, British artificial intelligence startup InstaDeep, said the new computational method can analyze genetic sequencing data of new coronavirus mutations found in infected people and assess the risk they pose within days, sometimes within minutes. The company said during its trial period, the system had accurately identified 90% of the World Health Organization's designated variants of concern. They said the system identified the Omicron variant as high risk the same day its sequence became available. Reporting via remote, I'm Jeff Custer.